Hey everyone, so welcome back to our channel. My name is Ken.
I'm Drew.
And this is In Your Prime. Thanks for watching again. So for today's episode, we're going to talk about some very common emotion that all of us deal with, regardless of your age, regardless of where you're at in the world, regardless of where you're at in life. The topic is how to deal with doubt. All right? We all face doubt. We all face limiting beliefs. Sometimes it can come from ourselves, just the inability to do something. We tend to doubt ourselves when we can't get something done, or if we feel like a task is too big for us. Sometimes we tend to doubt ourselves because other people project their own insecurities onto us, right? They tell us that we can't do something, probably because they can't do it themselves, right? So it's this limiting belief that we cannot do it, that we're not good enough, that we're just not enough to get this thing done, or we're just not enough to feel loved. We're not enough to get this nice job, to get this car, to get the girl, the guy, whatever the case may be. We're just not good enough. We don't feel like we're good enough, right? So in this episode, we're going to talk about 3 different tips on how to maybe not even necessarily get rid of doubt, because doubt will always be there if you're trying to tackle something big in your life. It's normal to face that initial sense of doubt, but we're going to tell you how to deal with it, how to manage it, because in this world, in this podcast, we're all about learning how to deal with ourselves, how to confront ourselves, and be able to reach maybe even a sense of self-mastery.
Yes, absolutely. And guys, real quick, doubt is natural, right? We all doubt, like you said, on a daily basis. But this podcast is designed, like you said, to learn new things and to better ourselves. Mm-hmm. So we're going to just show you how to deal with it, how to express it, and if doubt comes to you in your life, how to manage in a way where you have to worry about it and worry on a daily basis and cause you anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So on today's episode, one of the things that we notice a lot, that in social media especially, you scroll through your Instagram, scroll through your Facebook, and any of the medias that you have, you see these pictures of people who are accomplished. You see these bodybuilders, these entrepreneurs, these athletes, these dancers, these actors, all these different people who have done something amazing. I subscribe to The Rock, I subscribe to Joe Rogan, and I subscribe to someone just yesterday, and maybe I should have done this before. Israel Adesanya, UFC fighter, big UFC fight that happened just last night. Yeah, that was incredible.
Good fight.
I really want to get to his speech at the end of this. The first point, I'm going to get to the speech that he gave that was really encouraging, yet it can also be a little despairing to some people. So for today's episode, like I said, we're going to deal with how to deal with doubt. All right, hey everyone. So for the first point of how to deal with doubt, to fix any problem in life, right? First, you have to recognize that you even have a problem. You have to admit to yourself or gain awareness to yourself that you do have this problem. And maybe you don't even need to call it a problem, but it's an issue. It's a challenge that you would like to fix. It's something that you want to work on, especially when it comes to doubt. So the first thing to do is identify, where is the doubt coming from? Is it coming from something internal? Is it coming from your own sense of self, your own limiting beliefs? Something, maybe that voice inside your head that's telling you that you can't do it. Maybe take a break. I don't know, maybe this project might be too big for you. This never worked out before, why would it work out now? You know, if you have those questions in your mind, once again, that's natural and normal. Don't feel bad about that. The first thing, but you do need to be able to identify if it's something internal, if it's something that's coming from you, because then in a way, I don't want to say it's easier to deal with, but in a way you can challenge that a lot easier than you could if you had to challenge somebody else. So for instance, if I'm tackling this new job, this new position that I just entered, and all of a sudden I have these beliefs that, man, maybe I'm a little bit in over my head. Maybe I really can't do this thing that I set out to do. One thing I like to do is just write down my thoughts. Get those thoughts out of your head, put them on a piece of paper, and we like to call that thought journaling, or thought dumping is what I learned from before. Get those thoughts down on paper and identify, are those thoughts actually coming from you, or are they thoughts that someone else projected onto you? People will love to project beliefs that they can't do themselves, beliefs of something that they can't do themselves, a big task that might be too big in their minds. I remember when I was at college, and I told my friend, yo, I actually kind of want to try out for the football team. And he's like, no, you shouldn't do that. Those guys are all benching over 400 pounds. And right away, in my head, I'm like, yeah, maybe he's right. And since then, it was never even a thought in my head to try out for the team. I immediately set myself that barrier and just said, no, okay, maybe I should try something else. When in reality, the kid, he didn't believe it in himself that he could do it. he didn't believe that he had the strength, the athleticism, maybe even the mindset to go try out for that team. So immediately, remember the pursuit of happiness? Will Smith says to his son, if somebody doesn't believe that they can do something, they're going to tell you that you can't do it, right? So that's where the external doubt comes from. The external voice that says, oh no, you can't do it. That's not even necessarily from you, but it's a limiting belief that someone projected onto you. So be able to identify on a piece of paper that voice or that thought that says that I can't do it, and then identify, is it coming from you or is it coming from another person? Regardless of it, if it's coming from you or another person, you can challenge it, okay? But the thing is, if it's coming from you, you can immediately start to work on it. You can actually come up with a different thought instead. Instead of saying, no, maybe this thing is a little too big for me, you can then say, maybe I can break this down into small chunks and see how I can do this in little tidbits, right? Because if you think of a task too big for you, immediately the brain is going to exaggerate and catastrophize it. And then it's going to come up with ways that maybe, it's going to come up with things that you cannot do. It's going to come up with ways that kind of set you back in a way. Because in your mind, it's a little too out of your comfort zone. It's a little too monumental for you. So instead of having this big limiting belief, break it down into small chunks. That's how you eat a big piece of fruit. That's how you eat a big piece of pizza. You don't eat the entire pizza all at once, right? You break it down into small slices, small chunks. So don't think of this thing as so monumental. Think of it as, how can I build this wall brick by brick? How can I get to 300 pounds of a bench press rep by rep? You're not just gonna hit it all of a sudden. And I'm just using weights as an example. You could use anything, okay? And another thing, I brought this up in the intro, with Israel Adesanya. He won the middleweight championship back last night, which I was very happy to see. And one cool thing that he mentioned in his speech was he took a moment, he paused, and then he said, I hope all of you get a chance to experience the happiness that I'm feeling right now. I hope all of you one time get a chance to experience this happiness. But you will not be able to experience this unless you go out and do something, unless you go out and do the work, take some action towards it, take small steps towards that big task that you want to achieve. It doesn't have to be a UFC champion. It doesn't have to be the CEO of something. It could be something small that you want to achieve, or it can be something big. Regardless, you still have to do the work. And most oftentimes that starts off with your mind. Some of the greatest fighters out there have a very strong mindset, the greatest athletes, the greatest entrepreneurs, all the things that I just said, the CEOs, all these different people, or even the teacher that you like, the mentor that you have, the friend that you look up to, your parents, that person that you look up to. I would like to think that more often than not, they do have that strong mindset. Something about them attracts you to them. And it usually starts with the mindset. The mind is a very powerful weapon. It can be something detrimental to you, because I could have heard his speech and been like, I don't know, that's a little scary to think that I have to take this much action to get to where I want to get. But actually use his speech as a motivator. I'm like, yeah, why not? All of us can do it. If he can do it, someone who came from very little, if someone like that can do it, why can't I? Right? So I'm on the verge of things myself. And at the same time, I see it slowly but surely coming into fruition. So that's the first point. I hope this helps identify where the doubt is coming.
Hey everyone. So I hear me talking about the second point about doubt, okay? The second point about doubt, we're going to focus on the positive things that can come out of doubtful situations, okay? So for example, say I lost my job. Right, I lost my job, I'm not making money, I'm about to be on the streets. I don't know what to do, right? Things are up in flames, you know what I mean? I'm confused. I can't seem to find a way out of this doubtful situation, right? But in every single doubtful situation, there's an opportunity to grow and get better, right? For example, a couple years back, I lost a job I was at for a while, right? I was sad, distraught, I didn't know what to do. Right? Then my friend, hit me up. He said, hey, I have an opportunity for you that pays a lot more than the current job you're at that you just got let go from. So in turn, I actually got a better paying job than before and helped me out dramatically. So that was a good opportunity of a bad situation, right? but it's how to respond to those difficult situations. You know what I mean? When doubt happens, do we crumble up? Do we cry and complain? Yes, of course we do. That's natural. But in those situations, we have to go look deep inside ourselves and find out what do we want to accomplish out of the situation. Do we want the situation to continue? Or do we want to find a way out of it, right? So find positivity in these situations is very important if you want to move past it, right? I know it's hard, right? You get emotional. You know, you work so hard to get to that certain place, right? You did Uber for hours, or you worked that job, saved a lot of money, and then car breaks down. What are you going to do now, right? Like, for example, I was in a situation where I was, you know, doing a lot of, making a lot of money in certain jobs, other jobs, to try to save money to fix my car, right? In the course of doing that, my car ended up breaking down. And the money that I accumulated to get a new car ended up paying for repairs the car had right then and there. So I'm back to square one. Sad. Disappointed. Absolutely. But when I was in that situation, I told myself, I won't fail. I won't give up. No matter what, in the situation where I'm not doing so good, hey, at least I'm alive. At least have an opportunity to still make money. You know, I still have my job. I still have transportation to get to work. I had to borrow my mother's car at the time, right? So in that situation where things were dire, I still found an opportunity to get what I want, to succeed in the end. End up saving money and get a new car. So it worked out in the end. So the second point I want to express to you guys, hey, don't give up. When doubtful situations happen, look for the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't want to be corny with you guys, right? But obviously, you know, it's not going to be that easy. You can't just say, hey, you know what? Let me just push myself and get things done. No, you need to work on it every single day. Like Kem said, it's a mental thing, right? You're so mentally prepared for negative situations, you know what I mean? Don't think negatively all the time, but tell yourself, you know, I need to prepare, I need to save money, or I need to work out so, you know, my health won't be in danger. Wherever the case may be, right? I like the saying that, I don't know who said it or where it came from, but the saying is, fate rewards prepared, right? So if you don't want to get yourself in these negative situations again and again, you know, start trying to prepare to get yourself out of those situations, right? And that goes in line with what I was saying earlier. Try to find a positive in a negative situation. Negative situation happens, you're like, okay, well, next time I'll be prepared for this. This is a life lesson, okay? So, for the second point, guys, find the positivity in every single negative situation. I hope this helps.
Hey, I'm back. And for the third point, so we talked about identifying where your doubt comes from, right? Then we talked about focusing on the positives, focusing on the effective things, like how can you utilize doubtful situations. For this third point, though, we're actually going to be talking about action steps that you can take. If you recall, we brought up a little bit about distancing yourselves from the people who might continue to stir up doubt in your head. You don't need that negative energy. We only have so much emotional energy in the day. Why waste it on anything negative, right? It's okay to have those negative bouts, because we all will have them. We will all feel some type of sadness, some type of insecurity towards something. If you didn't, you weren't human. This next step is more about what to do after you've kind of maybe distance yourselves from those negative situations, distance yourselves from those negative influences. So instead of having those downtrodden, downward spiral type people in your life, you know what those people are like. What's that character off of Winnie the Pooh? That little thing that's always so doubtful, right? Eeyore, I believe it is. There's so many people like that in our lives who are just, or maybe not in your life, but you work with these people. You've seen them at school. You've seen them on the TV. Like, they're always so mopey. I go to this gym, and this person that I see there at the gym, this person is always complaining. Oh, my body hurts. I didn't sleep well last night, and you don't need that. So what I tend to do, instead of, like, I might not be able to necessarily distance myself from that person so much at work, so much at the gym. They're going to be around you. The best thing to know how to do is how to deal with them. So what I like to do is I like to create new habits, create new healthy environment, create a new mindset. It might sound cheesy, but all over my place, there's different quotes, there's different inspirational things that help to put me in the right mindset. right before I go into an event, right before I do something important, because I like to do these obstacle course races. Right before I do something that gets me out of my comfort zone, I like to fill my mind with positive thoughts, maybe more effective thoughts, things that are going to help build me up and inspire me rather than put me down. You know, they say motivation is crap. A lot of people knock on motivation, and I definitely understand it, because discipline is something you need to get through the tough times. But if you don't have discipline, you got to start somewhere. I believe motivation is what gets you started. Discipline is what keeps you going. Okay, so create new healthy habits. Create a new environment for yourself. Post positive affirmations, positive mantras if you need to. Go outside, take some action. Go outside and do something different than what you've normally done. Meet new people. Create a healthy mindset. Do something different than what you've normally done, because if you keep doing this thing that you normally did, you're only going to get the same results, right? So take new action steps. If you all the time believe that, no, I'm not good enough for this job is a little too out there for me, maybe I'm not worthy of this person. No, the best thing to do is challenge that belief and go do the opposite action. Actually force yourself, push yourself, because you can do it. There's more to you than you think. Push yourself to go take one small action step towards that goal. It could be just going up and approaching someone, just asking them a question, just going up and asking that boss for a raise, going up and maybe just inquiring, asking about that new car that you always wanted, doing some research on how to lose weight. Because instead, like, think about this. If you think that if you're stuck in a rut and the same thought keeps coming up and up every single time you think about maybe that dream body that you wanted, but if the thought always comes up that, no, it might be too hard. I don't know if I can make those diet changes. I don't know if I will ever look like that. Those thoughts will always keep coming up every time you have that picture in your mind. So the best thing to do, and if you can't tackle it mentally, is to push yourself physically. Go out there and then just maybe eat something a little different that day. Go up and look online at different ways on how to lose weight, different exercises. Go ask a friend on how to get some tips about how to lose weight or something like that. There are often more resources out there, especially with social media. We have an abundance, a plethora of different information. We don't have any excuses anymore. Google can answer any question that you want, right? So take new action steps is basically the third tip that I'm giving you. In order to create the life that you've always wanted, it will start in the mind, but oftentimes, like I said, if those doubtful, limiting beliefs keep coming up, no matter if you've gotten rid of those negative influences, next thing to do is just take action steps. And if you don't know what steps to take, maybe trust in a trusted, or go confront a trusted source. Go listen to a friend who might know a little bit more about that topic than you do. It might sound humbling, I understand. You know how many times, like, I'll use myself as an example. I just started the obstacle course races, the Spartan races, the Savage races. I just started doing that last year. And before that, I thought I knew how to run. You know, I ran very fast in high school and college. But at the same time, I was never actually on a track team. I never actually played track and field or anything like that. I was very good at soccer growing up, and basketball, football, all those other sports. But when it comes to straight running distances, that was never my thing. So I had to learn, and I'm still learning along the way, but I had to learn the basic steps on how to take a stride, basic steps on how to have steady state cardio for miles and miles and miles. At first, I couldn't run more than 30 seconds without my shins hurting, without my ankles, my knees being in pain. Now I can run hours and hours. Just yesterday I ran 10 miles up on the trails because I'm that much more motivated, and I had to ask simple questions to people. It might have made me feel dumb in the moment to be like, so how many miles do I need to run this day? And you know, what should I weigh in order to be at like a real competitive weight? Simple questions like that. I know that they're humbling. It might make you feel like you should know this already. But get rid of that ego. Get rid of that pride. If you really want to make lifestyle changes, you're going to have to start with something simple. It might be, like I said, simple mindset that you have to change, or just take simple action steps. If you can combine the two, watch and see your progress almost double in less time than you think. The third point, take action steps. Create a new healthy environment. Create a new lifestyle through small lifestyle habits. Hey guys, those are 3 tips on how to deal with doubt, because doubt is a universal emotion. We will all feel it no matter what position you're at in life. From the person who's just scrubbing floors to the CEO at the top of the building. Any one of us will feel doubt. So in this episode, we gave you 3 tips on how to deal with that, how to manage it, okay? Because we don't want you to cower away from it. We don't want you to think that doubt is something that is something that you should actually, that should leave you crippled at the end of the day. Doubt is a normal coping mechanism of the brain. It's meant to actually keep you in your comfort zone. It's meant to keep you safe. But in this world, post 2020, how many of us are safe? Like how many times does something unexpected happen? You see, if you're someone who watches the news, if you're someone who has a social life, you'll see all these different things happening in the world. The best thing to know is how to deal with it. Not run away from it, not just cower away and hide in a bunker somewhere. Maybe there might be time for that later on, but right now we're still in the real world dealing with real world issues. So we gave you 3 tips, and we hope these 3 tips were helpful. We don't want you to run away, because as we know, whatever you resist in life tends to persist in life.
Absolutely, and like you said, doubt is a natural thing to feel and to think, right? Sometimes want to use doubt as an opportunity to get ourselves ahead in life, right? For example, you're in a doubtful situation where, someone said you couldn't achieve something in the past. You can use that doubtful situation as fuel, as a motivation to motivate you to get yourself to the next level. Like he brought up Israel Zahn before. He got beat by that one guy like 3 times before. But he used that doubtful situation as fuel, as that anger, as that fire to push him to get through to the final step where he actually defeated him in the end. So, like I said, guys, you can always use doubt as energy, as a tool to get yourself ahead, right? We can't always think positive all the time. I'm not going to say that's unrealistic. But we use that tool to never give up, to push ourselves. We're in a bad situation. We felt like giving up. We feel like tapping out. But because we're consistent, because we were hard on ourselves, we push ourselves next level, we use doubt as a tool to get us ahead. So, like I said, don't fear doubt. Use it as a tool to get yourself ahead.
Yep, very good. So, thank you guys for watching this episode. We hope it was helpful. Always feel free to leave a comment. We'd love to hear you guys' feedback. Remember to share, like, and subscribe if you find this channel helpful. So my name is Ken.
I'm Rue.
And this was another episode of In Your Prime. We'll see you next time.